When it comes to storytelling and emotion, your choice in focal length matters. And in this tutorial, I want to show you the difference between in the action versus observational portraits. Let's get into it.
My name is Pi, and I'm one of the founders of Lynn and Jersa Photography and SLRLounge.com. We're teaming up with Adorama to bring you a new series of photography tutorials called Master Your Craft right here on Adorama TV. So let's dive in.
What's up, friends? My name is Pi. Welcome to Adorama TV. We're back here at the beach, and I'm going to show you one of my favorite techniques, which is to shoot my engagement and wedding work in the action. I really prefer the way that the images feel and kind of how they pull the viewer into the moment. Let's not talk anymore. Let's go ahead and just start and show you the difference. I'm going to actually begin with the observational shot. And what I mean by observational portrait is we're essentially shooting the image from a distance with a telephoto lens. A lens like this one. This is a 70-200 and I have it paired with an R5. Very common engagement / wedding lens. Let me show you what the scene is going to look like. But first, let me introduce our couple. So this is our couple, Ravina and Jacob. And for both of these shots, I'm going to have them do the exact same thing. I'm going to have Ravina hold Jacob's hand and she's going to kind of slowly lead him out through this little walkway. We're actually going to aim for the exact same composition, well, at least make the subjects the same size or the same framing with both lenses. So let's go ahead and back up. I'm going to make them kind of like filling out 2/3 of the frame for both of these, okay? Let's get our exposure and everything dialed in. I'm at 1/4000th, f2.8 and ISO 100. Okay, so Ravina, I want you to go like 50% speed. Jacob, I want you looking at her. Ravina, I want you smiling, kind of looking out, having fun with this, okay? Go ahead and start moving. Perfect. Okay, so as they move, I'm just zooming out a bit, kind of keeping the composition similar. I'm not gonna worry about getting the perfect expression on this because this is really just our comparison shot. There are a lot of benefits to using a 70-200 lens. I don't want you guys to think that this is not the right option to choose. When I look at these images, I love the depth that I get in the background, right? At f2.8, the background falls out of focus, it looks beautiful. We also bring the background forward. By standing back and zooming in at a longer focal length, we get the illusion of that compression effect where the background is kind of pulled closer and we can see like all the mist and it looks really cool, but we don't see a lot of foreground. The thing for me though is that in all these portraits, it feels like I'm far away. As the viewer, I look at it and I don't feel the excitement of the moment. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and switch to a wide angle lens. All you really need for this technique is a wide angle lens. My favorite thing is to use a wide angle prime, like say a 24 or a 35mm, or a zoom that sort of acts like a prime. So say for example, the Canon 28-70, that's kind of my go-to workhorse lens, but any 24, 35mm prime is gonna work just fine. And really, the choice of prime and shooting wide open is more of a subjective one. So if you want to shoot more stop down, that's totally fine. The main thing is just a wide angle lens so we can be in the action. Let me go ahead and switch those lenses. Okay, I got my lens. Now when it came to that 70-200, I didn't explain this entire setup. I want to do that now. I also want to give you some tips along the way in how to shoot this in the action. So step 1, your wide angle lens. Step 2, I want you guys to turn on face detection if you have it, okay? So it's going to help you out. If you don't, you're going to use an autofocus tracking system with the focal point placed over your subject's face. So I'm going to go ahead, because I do have face detection, I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to keep my eye tracking on as well. And we're going to let the camera do as much of the heavy lifting as we can. Okay. Now let's go to step 3, which is composition. So here the huge difference now is I'm going to be shooting at around 28 to 35mm and I'm stepping in close to my subjects. Whereas before I was way back there. So going for the same composition, what I'm actually gonna do, I'm gonna have them filling out the frame. I'm going to adjust my exposure a little bit because we did change the aperture. So I'm actually gonna go to 1/8000th of a second, f2 and ISO 100. That's perfect. We have good detail and definition. All the detail is there. We're good to go. So 1/8000th, f2 and ISO 100. I kind of like my subject in the background falling off a little bit, like getting a little bit more, making this kind of more focused on the person in front. That's just a preferential thing. You guys can do whatever you like there. But this is the general composition. You can kind of notice that from this angle, when they look into the camera, they're roughly the same size in the frame, but the scene is already looking dramatically different. Okay, so I've got face tracking on. Ravina is actually gonna be leading the shot, So I'm placing my face tracking right over her, and I'm kind of ready to start moving. I've dialed in my ambient light exposure, 1/8000 f2 and ISO 100, making sure that I want to preserve dynamic range because I'm going to be shooting this, natural light. I do have a bit of light modification. I like this spot on the beach for several reasons. One is that we have the open sky and the sand, which is reflecting a little bit of light back in the faces, just kind of filling in shadows a bit. So composition was 3. We've set our exposure 4. We've kind of taken into consideration the position, how the light's gonna be modified, 5. Now we're gonna go ahead and pose and photograph. They kind of know what to do. They're gonna hold hands. They're in this open pose towards the camera. Ravina, you're gonna walk like a step in front. Jacob, I want you kind of looking towards her through this walk. And Ravina, I want you to go 50% speed. So you're going pretty slow with this. I'm gonna keep this distance and just kind of walk with you. I want you to glance out to the water, back into the camera, have fun with this, play with this, a little bounce in your step, and we're gonna keep shooting as we go, okay? So now we're gonna go ahead and photograph. So when you're ready, guys, go ahead. I love that. Love it. Beautiful, we already got it, but if you need at this point, you would just run it back. So if you wanna get the right expression, if you wanna try something a little bit different, run it back. So what we're gonna do now is, I'm actually gonna have you move a little bit quicker. You're gonna actually have a bounce and a jog in your step, and we're gonna go fast, okay? So go hop back in that spot. I want this one more playful, kind of laughing through this sequence, okay? You ready? Yeah. Let me get my tracking right on her, and action. Perfect, relax. Dude, I love that. Now, little tip here, Dutch angle. This is that compositional technique that we all learn and overuse when we first start shooting video, pictures, whatever it is, and it's basically slanting your camera like this because we think it's creative. It's not creative, but it does have a purpose. So Dutch angle actually is a wonderful tool when you want to lend a sense of anxiousness to a scene, when you want a scene to feel kind of organic in the moment and kind of haphazard. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna let the camera tilt a bit as we're doing that same run, and you're gonna feel that it almost has this sort of high production feel because of the way that the image looks, but at the same time it feels a little more organic because the horizon isn't perfect and things are a little bit off. So we're gonna use it to our advantage and do it one more time. I'm gonna make one tiny adjustment this time. I'm just gonna get a little bit lower to put their heads a little bit more above the horizon. All right, guys, you all ready? Okay, Ravina, to come in front a little bit. There it is, perfect. And action. Okay, we got the shots. I want you to now compare them. Look at the observational image and compare it to the feel and the emotion of the in the action shot. It's totally different. Now sure, I really dig the background, the way that compression pulls the background forward on that longer lens, but I love more being in the action and seeing the expression and feeling like I'm in the moment and seeing the surrounding environment, these cool rocks that are all around them. So this is my preferred way of shooting, getting in the action portraits. And I find that my clients really dig that style too because it feels a little more authentic and in the moment. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, I'd love for you to give it a thumbs up. Comment below, let me know what you guys think. We're also gonna link up Ravina and Jacob, so if you like, you can give them a follow. And if you dig this style of education, well, number one, subscribe to the Adorama TV channel, turn on your notifications because every day we have awesome videos going up. Number two, we have an entire A to Z instructional library for anybody that's serious about becoming a wedding and portrait photographer. That's on slrloungeworkshops.com. Meantime, I'll see you guys next week. Peace.